In a world first, we are seeing human trials to reverse the process of aging using genetic editing. I've been talking about this for a while in mice, and we are finally seeing it happen in humans, and there are some rather disturbing implications to it. There are a lot of misconceptions about what aging is and why it happens. For a long time, people thought it was just damage to your DNA, and that does occur. Your DNA does kind of fall apart as you get older. Part of that is telomeres, so yes, the stable ends of your chromosomes, they get shorter over time, and then they start to fall apart. But we've also discovered that we have an aging program in our DNA. Our bodies are supposed to get older, and those genes dictate how quickly we get old and in what order it happens. However, things can get activated at the wrong time, and then we have conditions like progeria, which is a rapid aging disease in young children. More recently, we've discovered that these genes can be turned on and off because your body does have a natural mechanism to reverse the aging process, and that happens when we reproduce. This is the same reason that clones used to be the same age as their donor when they were born. So you could clone a 1-year-old mouse and its cells would essentially be born at 1 year old, so they would experience rapid aging. But we've managed to reverse the process using ingrained mechanisms in our cells to make gametes. But there doesn't seem to be a reason that these mechanisms have to be isolated to cells. We can apply them to a whole body. And yes, it can be done and has been done in mice with great results. We don't just see the slowing of aging, we see the reversal of the signs of aging, better muscle tone, shinier coats. Mice that will go from being gray to having that dark coloration again, so systemic changes can occur in which you reprogram the cells to be younger. I feel like I've seen several movies and an episode of The Twilight Zone about this going wrong, but it does seem to work in mice. The reason that we don't see these kinds of treatments as widespread or happening sooner is because when you do a medical trial, you have to demonstrate that it is safe. You also have to make sure that you are working with the most effective method. There are tons of anti-aging studies out there, and because there are so many angles to approach this at, it's difficult to actually get one to the point of being used in humans. Trials like this are done for individual organs, at least right now. While yes, it has been done in mice and can be systemic, we have to think about side effects, and eyesight, for people who have lost eyesight due to age-related conditions, is a good target. We have entered a profoundly weird era in human history. For a long time, there were myths about the fountain of youth or some tonic that you could take, but none of it worked, and we're actually getting to the point where we have verifiable results, and that is something that could be applied, but may have profound consequences. We're also at the point where artificial intelligence is being developed, and the possibility of a digital twin is not really outside of the realm of possibility when we can mimic a human brain, model every spiking neuron, and now we have life lengthening. You might be happy to know that in animals that do live for a profoundly long time, there are consequences. Because we do have animals that live for hundreds of years, like bowhead whales and Greenland sharks. They can live to be 700, but they usually end up blind. Even if you don't technically age, your body still absorbs the consequences and you accumulate injuries, and those become more difficult to tolerate over time. So it's thought that for animals that don't age noticeably, the longer they live, their possibility of survival goes down just from those accumulated injuries. And that makes me feel a little bit better. We may have this biologically programmed clock, but sometimes the alternatives are worse. Of course, nothing is going to stop tech bros from trying to lengthen their lifespans, and I am watching cautiously, because it might just be fascinating. However, I am very concerned about what this will do for society, because reversing the aging process, or at least significantly slowing it down, seems to be quite possible. As the human species, we are already experiencing a significant decline in birth rates, and that is not just in one country, that is globally. You may see some countries that are doing a little bit better, but if we look at the entire human population, yeah, we are slowing. That slow leads to a population decline when we have more elderly people in the population who are not reproducing and less younger people who need to take care of them. Of course, robots can be a solution to take much of that labor, but we are talking about an economy that we've never had before. And now we're adding major advancements in lengthening life on top of that. So yeah, having these kinds of treatments available to everyone would probably be really bad for the population. I also really don't want to see just a few people have access to this kind of technology, so I can't really see a very good outcome to this treatment being commonplace. I have mixed feelings about this one because I think these treatments could be enormously helpful, especially to people with aging disorders like progeria. That is a condition in childhood where you age rapidly and usually have a short life. Hypothetically, these treatments are life-saving. They could help people with deafness and blindness, but they could also have profound consequences for human society And I'm not sure I want to see that either. I don't know. What do you think?